I got a shimmy. So since this is the first live that you're on with me, Miss Sonya, I shimmy.
Okay, all right. I like a shimmy. I
So,
like a good shimmy.
so I gotta get my little shimmy in before we start, and we are live on Facebook. Hello, 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 and welcome everyone. Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to Teaching Tuesday After Hours. My name is Michelle Anantala, co-owner of Harmony's Divine Design, where I work alongside the amazing T Weaver. At Harmony's Divine Design, we work with new and seasoned entrepreneurs, helping you guys get out of that stuck place. So we do that by offering one-on-one business coaching, online classes, and products and services to help streamline your workflow. And so, Miss T, would you care to introduce yourself, me?
Hello, I'm T. Weaver, her partner in crime with the business of Harmony Divine Design. I am the crafter side of the business. I They call me Tinkerbell because I'm always tinkering in something. So you need a GPT, uh, generator. I'm the person they come running to. So that's who I am.
Awesome, awesome. So, talking about GPTs this evening, I'm super excited because we have the GPT queen herself joining us this evening for some great conversation for this next hour. So, Miss Sonya Hightower, it's all yours, ma'am.
Hello, you guys. My name is Sonya Hightower Routt, and I am the queen of GPTs. I am so happy to be here this evening. I am the owner of the Kaleidoscope Project and AI for Academia, where I teach entrepreneurs how to start their business with my Trainer's Edge Academy. I take you through a full academy teaching you how to transform your audience from newbie to well-seasoned trainer by the time they finish working with you, after you finish working with me. And I am so happy to see all of you all here this evening, ready for some good conversation, because I love talking about AI.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, while we're on the topic of AI, why don't you give us a little background of how you even got started in the journey of AI?
It's been a while too. I'd say maybe about four years. I actually started out doing just art, right? And it was really because of course, back during the early crafting days, I had my Cricut and all that kind of stuff. And I would purchase a lot of images off of Etsy. My favorite place to go was, gosh darn it, I can't think of them now, but they were the fashion something. But I used to love to buy from them. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of their dolls, the little dolls that you get from them. I had a bunch of those. And at one point I was like, I'm spending all this money on Feathers of Style. Thank you. That's exactly what it was, Roland. Feathers of Style. Says she knows. I mean, I spent, those people got a chunk of my money. But I started to, wonder, I want to bring my own, because some of them, they're cool. They're really good. And at the time, that's all that was out there. And they were the best of the best that was out there. So I didn't mind spending that money. But I also always wanted to create my own, So then I got into AI, dealing with, I think I started dealing with Kiana Duckett, I think it is, over at Craft Sisters. And I started working with her first, and then oh wow, she went out of business. Oh my goodness. I can understand why. Um, but yeah, I started working with her and started learning how to create my own images, and then start selling my own images as I create designs for t-shirts and things of that nature. I didn't get into the business of AI until a couple of years later, maybe about 2 years ago. Um, I'll hit a rough spot. I have a special needs daughter that is, now she's 28. Goodness, she's 28, but at the time she was 26 years old. And the nurse that had been with us for 20 years um, unexpectedly passed away.
Oh,
So we were looking for a nurse, because this home health nurse comes in so that I could go to work. And it was very difficult. Didn't really realize how difficult it was to find a nurse because we always had one until you really needed one. So I was out of work for, I say 3 months out of work. Had run out of time, was running out of money quickly, and happened to be on Facebook one day, and Lamar Tyler was doing this Traffic to Profit. I think he has Traffic to Profit, and Alicia Little was on there. He did a free webinar, and I watched her, and she showed me how you could use AI to do all these other things. I was just using it for art. I thought it'd make cute pictures, but she was showing me how you could do all these different things, and I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. So I took the last of the money that I had, and I joined her class, and became a certified AI consultant. And it's been great. It's still a struggle, it's still a struggle. I'm not gonna sell a pie in the sky to anybody. It's still a struggle, how it is out here in these AI streets, but I don't regret it, not one bit. What it has done is it has opened me up to how I could use that in what I do every day, which is teach. I am a teacher, 26-year veteran, master teacher, teach U.S. history, 8th grade. And I'm able to now incorporate that into my passion, which is teaching. I love to teach, whether it's academically or teaching someone how to do a business or create t-shirt designs, whatever it is. I love teaching, and being able to incorporate that, and then to master GPTs, where now you can use GPTs to hit these major pain points, so that you can help people to start their business. You can help students to get caught up. You can help teachers not spend so much time on Sundays, away from the family, because you got to do lesson plans that takes you 4 and 5 hours. Now you have something that can help you. And taking that chance on myself and deciding that that's what I was going to do afforded me, yes, the ability to become a certified AI consultant and coach, but it has also driven me to now acquire two internationally accredited programs of my own, which is Trainers Edge Academy and the Create GPT University. Both are internationally accredited at this time, and yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
It has been beautiful. It's been a journey for sure. And I can,
Yeah,
and
it's been a
as you
journey.
speak of it, I definitely see that. And one point I wanted to touch on really quick, because you are an educator.
Mhm.
And my question to you would be, what advice would you give to a fellow educator that is considering introducing AI into their teaching structure?
I would say do it. I would say do it using AI, and I have a lot of my colleagues that, some of it's either one end of the spectrum or the other. One on one end, they're scared of it. They don't know what it does. It's going to take all my information and do, all that kind of stuff. And then you have those on the other end who know how to ask ChatGPT a question and it gives them an answer. Now they think they're, I'm on top of the game now. I can, you know, but I would say for a teacher, any educator, be it a teacher or a business coach or anybody, I would say the best move that you could make would be to incorporate AI into your classes. Now, as a classroom teacher, it can help you to differentiate your lessons. You can take that one lesson and differentiate it over all of the different modalities that you see in your classroom, because we face many every day. And so you don't have to take the time. Before you were able to do this, before it was even introduced, you used to have to do that really by hand. You have to sit there and adjust the lessons and accommodate and modify and all that kind of stuff. But there is so much stuff that you can do now to help you move that along, but then also help move your students along. One of the English teachers, the biggest gripe for a lot of teachers is these kids are not on grade level, and I don't have time to get them on grade level because I have a scope and sequence, a calendar that you have to keep. And it's true, you do. But with the inception of AI, the right way, use the right way, and it creating the right system, it can now create that program that can help that student that struggles with grammar. It can help them catch up to grammar where they can still do their work. When they finish with their work, put them on, create an AI tool where that helps them to understand subject verb agreement, what a noun is, what a predicate, what a adverb, a verb, all that stuff is. So I would say it does tremendous. It also helps when it comes to dealing with parents. Some educators forget that you are parents also. Some educators, you get so bogged down in the demands that are placed on us that your delivery to parents sometimes isn't the best, right? Or I would say, like, sometimes in our district, they go. I work in a Title I district, right? Our area, the demographics to our school in most of our district is Title I. And I will tell anybody to understand, in order to understand your students, you need to understand where they're coming from and understand where the parents are coming from. So when you go and you get someone from Iowa or Idaho or somewhere, and you bring them here and you place them in this inner city, urban, low socioeconomic area, and they have to work with these kids and they don't quite understand them through no fault of their own. If you haven't been around it, you haven't been around it. But now you're here. So how do you handle, certain situations? In the book, it tells you that when you tell Johnny to go sit down, little Johnny might stomp his foot, but he's going to go and sit down. When now they popped you in an area where you tell John to go sit down and John tells you where to go. So how do you handle that? Being able to have AI now, you can go in and have that conversation. Look, this is what I'm seeing in my classroom. How do I handle that as an educator? What are some ways that I can handle that? And that's twofold. Number one, that keeps you from having to run to the assistant principal every time you have a problem, because then they're looking at you like, dang, you can't do your job. Nobody wants to look weak in front of their boss. Nobody does. So that allows them to kind of put out those fires themselves. But then it also kind of opens them up to understanding someone else's perspective. A parent that is trying to figure out how I'm going to get food on the table now, which is a very real reality. Um, I'm really not worried about that phone call that you're calling me, telling me that he threw a piece of paper in the classroom. Really not my focus. So how do you handle that? So how do you deal with them when the parent is bogged down with something else and the kid is still showing that behavior? You as the teacher, that's your classroom. What do you do? So now you have an entity with AI that you can go in, and if you're working with me, you have a GPT that tells you and walks you straight through, trains you exactly on how to talk to that parent, on how to address that child, because it could just be the kid is hungry, or the kid may not have slept because he had to take care of the kids while mom and dad worked, or whatever the case may be. So I would say using that helps a lot. And then a lot of things with parents, with teachers, your creativity. Some of them, stay inside of a box because they feel like, oh, that's too much. I just can't, I want to do an escape room, but oh, that's going to be a lot. That's going to take me 3 weeks to kind of prep it and get all the things together, when you can do an escape room in 20 minutes, the whole thing from start to finish, creating it, getting the materials together. Because what it does is it allows AI to handle the heavy lifting, and then you can focus on what it is that's important to you, which is teaching, whether you're in the classroom or in a business.
I love that. I love that. I think, when a lot of people hear AI, like you said, they instantly can gravitate to the negative connotation, right? If you're unaware or if you haven't educated yourself on it, then of course you're going to go by the opinion in which you hear, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But being on the other side of AI, working with it, um, it's really a tool that has no bias. And when I say it has no bias, you're able to fit it into pretty much anything that
mm-hmm.
we do. right? So
Mm.
for me, you know, um, I'm a trainer. So I'm constantly creating SOPs at work and things like that. So I'm utilizing AI. Hey, listen, I
Mhm.
need you to help me flush out this idea. I need you to help me, I'll literally tell my AI, like, hey, listen, we're doing a brain dump right now.
Mhm.
Like help me get these ideas together. And I think when you teach people how to use it properly,
Mhm.
it really does open up a world of, you know, opportunity.
Yes, it does. I wholeheartedly agree. I call it in education, I call it the great educational equalizer because it is. It cares nothing about your background, how much your parents make, where you live, any of that. As long as you have access to the internet and you have a thought process, then it can help you. I tell teachers it's the teaching assistant that you dream of. That's the one that never calls in. You can wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning with an idea and it's going to help you flush it out. It's going to always be there. It's going to always be pleasant. It never gets an attitude and it can challenge you depending on how you use it. You can even ask it to challenge me. Don't I want to go above and beyond the status quo. So how do I get there? And it gives you, I mean, what other tool can give you step by step instructions on what you need to do, no matter what it is? It can give you that. So the biggest issue, of course, that we hear, especially with teachers, is that the kids are going to cheat. Oh, they're going to use that to cheat. They're going to be cheating. They're going to be cheating. And my statement all the time is they've been cheating since cheating was invented. The question is not whether or not if AI is going to help them cheat more. The question is, why are they cheating in the first place? That's the question. Because if I know how to do something, I'm not going to cheat. Why is it necessary to cheat? Most kids cheat because they don't know how to do something. Now, some will say that children cheat because they're lazy, they don't want to learn, but that depends on how you approach it in your classroom. How are you approaching things in your classroom? What are you doing? So maybe those old ideas. Now, I've been in the game for 26 years, and I know some of my colleagues that have been in the game as long as me and some more. And some of them are stuck in their ways and they don't want to change. And I tell them today's children are not the children we had when we first started. They're not. The world is not the way it was when we started. These kids are fast. Everything is fast. Everything is right in front of their faces. So you need to adapt to meet the need of the child. So what's the best way to adapt? Use AI to help you work on how to do that. You got this special ed kid you don't know how to handle. Maybe he's ED, maybe he's emotionally, he had emotionally disturbed. So you don't know how to handle that. You can ask him, what are some calming exercises that I can do for this kid, or some things that I can place around my classroom so that when he gets into his situations that he knows immediately this is where I can go to calm down, or this, what can I do? And it will give you all of those things that you can do. It's just amazing. You can write ebooks. People build whole businesses. I know I built two of them right off of AI. So it's an amazing tool when used properly. Now, of course, you have the flip side of that, as we do with everything else, but um, we are going to focus on the positive and try to get people to understand that it is not some great demon. Here's the one thing that it is it's not going away. And it has eliminated some jobs. It has eliminated some jobs because they were able to automate some systems that they were not able to automate. So what do you do if you're that person that your job has been eliminated because AI has automated the system that you create, that you used to work in? Well, I would say go and create a space for yourself. Because what people have to understand is, as great as AI is, and it is, I am the staunch proponent for AI, it is still just a machine. and it can only do as much as the human element gives it the information to do. So you as a human have a leg up. You really do. What is it that you know, and you love? Turn that into a class. Somebody out there wants to know how to do it. For all of those people that love AI, there are those that don't. So go ahead and create a course. They don't know that you created it with that. So of course, so it's just so many different things that you can do with it, as long as you are ethical in your movements, and learn. I would encourage any and everybody to understand AI ethics first before you go in there. And I see that as the as this AI space gets more and more crowded and more noisy, the one thing that I don't hear people talking about is ethics, because people, they don't even think about it. But as the situation that we talked about earlier today, there is a such thing as ethical movements in business and in education. You have to move ethically. You have to be able to use this system. It is a wonderful system, but you have to use it ethically. You want to make sure that you are above board when you are moving. And that's an area that's not spoken about much in our space as of yet, but it will be. It will be, because I'm headed in that direction.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Tink.
Okay, I know you were skimmed over your kids with disabilities in class and everything. With everything being taken out of the schools, how, as a teacher, are you able to teach a parent to reach out to AI to help at home if they're not getting it in school?
I have, and it's just because I've done it for my parents in the classroom. I created what's called a homework helper. Because here's the thing, a lot of parents, some teachers will say, these parents are not helping these kids. They're not doing this. They don't want, they don't care if their kid learns or not. That's not necessarily the case. How long has it been? If somebody asked you about something that's a eighth grade kid is doing in the classroom, if I weren't a teacher, I would have to go figure it out. I don't know. My kid comes home and asks me something about the American Revolution. I have no idea. The who? I don't know what you're talking about. You know how many years I've been out of school? So it's not necessarily all the time that the parents don't want to. Is that some of them just can't, because they don't know it. They don't remember it. It was never, it just wasn't pushed. So I created what's called, yes, it has changed a lot. I created a homework helper, GPT, for my parents that they have access to. So when that child comes home and they say, Mom, hey, I got to do something on Abraham Lincoln, then, your parent can go in and type in Abraham Lincoln, and it shows them what they can do with the lesson. They can type in what the kid is supposed to do, and it walks them through. It will not give them the answer, though, because I've written it in a way that it won't give them the answer, but it will help them walk the child step by step so that they can understand. Breaks it down so that now the parent feels confident and the child feels confident. Now, when it comes to special education, and with the demolishing of the special education department with the Department of Education, that was one of the first things that they gutted right here just recently. For my parents, I have created a GPT that keeps them abreast on their FERPA laws and their rights, for those that don't really know, because what you're going to start to lose, and it's not happening right now, but if they don't fix the funding, what you're going to start to lose is those advocates, because there's going to be no funding to pay them. So parents are going to have to be the advocates for their kids themselves. So you can create a GPT that helps them understand an IEP and what all these, because a lot of times, and I can tell you from experience, I have a daughter. She's 28 years old now. She's special needs. She's 28 years old. She functions on like she's 3, 5 at the most on a good day. She doesn't even speak. She may say patty cake or something like that. So as a parent of a child with special needs, I understand that. And going to those meetings for the very first time when she was a little bitty thing, going to those meetings and hearing all these acronyms, IEP and mods and SPEDS and this and that, and that's a lot for a parent to digest because it happens on a couple of levels. Number one, it happens on the level that, oh my God, this is my child's reality. You never think about it unless you have to go through it, right? And then on the other hand, and it's that parent that's trying to figure out, how can I possibly help my kid when I have no idea what the heck is going on myself? I don't know what none of this stuff means. And in the meetings, they move it so fast that they really don't stop to say, hey, this is what this means. So I've seen it, I've experienced it myself. I've seen it with parents because I've sat in numerous art meetings. So I try to make sure when I deal with special, I have a whole section in my education program that's just dedicated to special education. So to the teachers and the parents, teachers, they have to, they need to know, you need to know what a PLAF is and how to fill it out. Some people don't. You need to know what a BIP is and how to fill it out, and what an ABC form and all these different things, these different acronyms. Um, so my children have I have a classroom website and a classroom app, and one of those sections is, for my kids, the parents, they have special education kids, so the parent already knows they can go in and put in their kids ID number, because I don't put their names in there, put the ID number in there, and it'll pull up their child's information. So they can ask me questions, or if they got a question on how is this modification happening in the classroom for my kid, then they can see what I'm doing, how I change the lesson to help them, or they can send me a message or something like that. It's about really slowing down and keeping the lines of communication open, especially for our special education parents, because it's a lot. That's a lot to have to deal with on top of everyday, the everyday stuff that you have to deal with. It's a lot. And so I think that with the inception of AI and someone like myself being able to create GPTs that specifically address that pain point with the parents not understanding all those different acronyms and what to do, and how to advocate for the kids themselves, that has really, really, it's really helped. Now everybody's not on board, but you just have to keep pushing, whether people hear you or not. You just keep going, you keep pushing, and you keep making sure that the kids understand, because some of them are confused themselves, about what's actually going on with them. And dealing with middle school kids, they're not babies anymore, and they're trying to prove that they're not a baby anymore, but they're not quite, there, and they're in the middle, and hormones is happening, and everything just kind of going crazy. So put the fact that I'm a special education student and I don't want everybody else to know, but everybody else kind of knows anyway. You know, that's a lot. That's a lot for a kid to deal with, and a lot for a parent to deal with. So being able to have these systems and these programs where you could create a GPT where the kid understands how to deal with, how to recognize their triggers, and then how to deal with them. And all they got to do is just go get a computer, sit down, and open it up. You don't have to talk to me. I don't have to talk to you. Just go in there when you feel like something's getting ready to happen, or you're on the edge. Go grab your computer. Go sit. Go work with your tool. Go open that tool up and talk back and forth, and let it calm you down. Some kids don't understand what triggers are. We as adults, we assume that they know. These are babies. They still don't know, as grown as they want to be. And as grown as some of them act every day, because they make me question my profession on a daily basis. But they're still kids. They're still kids. And so it's things that they don't understand as well. So being able to utilize AI now to open up a whole nother world for teachers and students and parents, it's a game changer.
It really is. And I know T put this in the chat, but we need so many more teachers like you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are
Thank you. Thank
welcome.
you.
Um, I will say, because I have a child with special needs as well. And, I remember going through the process and being introduced to all these things in IEP. Like Miss Sonia said, they're throwing all these acronyms at you. And the funny thing is, because y'all, if y'all know me, y'all know I can't really take too much seriousness. I have to put a joke in there anywhere. I'm like, they are throwing the whole alphabet. I know A to Z, but all these other ones they want to finagle
Hmm. They
between.
want to put together, yeah, they want to finagle together. I mean, yeah, it's overwhelming.
It is. It's very rough. And as she said, I remember when my child was in middle school, in that in between of just you're trying to figure yourself out as a young person. And then as she stated, having, a special need other on top of that, and trying to be amongst your peers is it's a challenge. And being able to have an AI tool like a GPT, or even just learning how to talk to chat GPT,
Hmm.
you know, is really truly groundbreaking. It's really going to change, and it is changing the way that
Hmm.
we teach, and even with our children, the way that they learn.
Hmm.
It was also stated in the chat as you were talking that school is a whole lot different looking.
Oh
And you
yeah.
even stated it. It's different looking. You know, I haven't been out of school too long, but it's been long enough. But the amount of time that I've been going, I know if I was to walk back through my high school doors, nothing is
Nothing
the
will be the
same.
same. Yeah.
I'll be looking around like, where was this stuff when I was here? Y'all want to
Mhm.
upgrade now?
Right, right, right,
But
right.
not understanding that yes, these schools, they do need the resources to be able to upgrade. They do need the smart screens. They do need the things that are going to keep these children's attentions, because you think about it, a lot of these kids, they either have a phone, they have a tablet, they have a game, they have something electronic in front of their faces, some as soon
And
as
they
they
get
wake up.
information like this.
Yeah.
They get information like this. And when you're in that space where they're getting information like this, I mean just quick, then you are going to have to adjust how you do it. Book and pen and paper doesn't necessarily work. Case in point, today, we studied last week. They had a test over the 7 principles of government, and they did okay, but not as good as I wanted them to do. We talked about that Monday. They weren't at school today because we had training, and when they come back tomorrow, we need to review. So the first part of the day, I went in because I built a GPT, of course, that'll help me do the lessons. So I went in and I did it. And as a matter of fact, I put the whole process on Facebook, on my Facebook page today. I went ahead and I recorded myself doing it because people need to see what's possible. Because
Absolutely.
I'll jump in and get to going, and when I finish, I'll be like, dang, I should have recorded that so I could put it out there so that people could see what's possible. So today I caught myself. I was like, okay, I'm going to go back and record it. But not only did I create a short lesson where they could answer questions on that depth of knowledge, Will, being able to answer more in-depth questions. As I was creating for my students, the one thing that they tell me when they tell me that they don't like history, I'm like, why don't you like history? Because it doesn't matter. Why do you think it doesn't matter? Well, Miss Hudson, I don't want to learn about no bunch of old dead white men. Well, okay, true enough. But those old dead white men set some processes in place that you're still living with today. So you got to try to figure it out. So I understand where you're coming from, and I understand that it's boring, but you are going to have to learn how to understand that boring stuff to get to the stuff that you want to do. So I decided to create a GPT. It's called the US Chronicles. US Chronicles. And what it does is it does not change. I uploaded all of my information from all of the work that we'll do this year, the whole scope and sequence for the year. And when you start it, it'll ask you, what unit are you on? So I tell it what unit that I'm on. And sometimes I let the kids have access to it because I really built it for them. But a lot of times I'll do it on the smart board so that they can just yell out what they want their choices to be. And what it does is it creates a story for them. A historical story, all of the historical facts are intact. Nothing changes. The way the story is delivered is changed. It could be a suspense, it could be a comedy, it could be romantic, it could be thriller, it could be an action-packed story. It doesn't, they get to choose. They get to choose what kind of how they want that information given to them. And then at the end, they get to choose if they want interactive questions to go with what they've just read. They don't really get a choice. If you're going to use it, you're going to answer the questions because that's where your grade is coming from, partner. So yeah, you need the questions. But we usually do it. Sometimes we do it as a whole group. Some of them even ask, "Can I do it, Miss Hightower? Can I use the what you call it?" Go ahead. Go ahead and use the what you call it since you don't know what it is. Go ahead and use the what you call it and do what you need to do with it, kid. But they enjoy that. But I took it a step further today when I had it create 7 case studies because teachers, you can do a case study to help you, a case study on the 7 principles, modern day, urban in an urban school district. And then once it gave me all of them, I copied and pasted into Gamma and had Gamma turn it into a presentation. So now tomorrow when they get in class, I'll upload it into their Schoology folder and I won't have to say a word. They'll read it, they'll discuss, the questions are there. And I'm just walking around listening to the conversation, making sure that they're talking it out. And my kids have gotten to the point now to where they almost just argue with one another. So they're proving it because they're proving their point. It's saying right here, look right there on the thing. But they like the stories because they can control that. And even though when we were coming up, you understood that as a child, you didn't control nothing, right? You did what the teacher told you to do, whatever it was she put in front of you, that's what you did, and that was that. But that was then, and this is now. So, do you have to appeal to the children or the adults that are in front of you? Absolutely. Absolutely. And how do you do that? You use AI to come up with something like the US Chronicles and things like that to generate something that they will enjoy, that they seem like they have control over. And that's relevant to them. Once you show how it's relevant to them, then they can see. And then they're like, oh, is that what that is? Yeah, that's exactly what that is. It's so funny to hear them when we talk about the Bill of Rights. And they were like, I said, so why can't the police just come in your house? Well, they have to have a warrant. Who told you that? The Bill of Rights told you that. Who wrote it? Oh, I don't know. Then that's exactly where we start. That's where we start. Let's start right there. You know what it means, all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about where it is and what, more importantly, now the teacher can then extend the lesson. What would it look like if the Bill of Rights were not in place? If you didn't have those safety precautions, then what would this world look like? And then now what that does is now it's interesting. Now it's interesting. Now I can sit in here. I can learn about these old dead white folks now. I can learn about them now because it's interesting. Where before it really worked. And if they're not interested, they're not gonna do it. I don't care how you jump and flip and all, if they're not interested, if you don't get them to buy in the beginning, they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. So you have to learn how to get creative. And you have a creative partner that never sleeps, that never runs out of ideas, always something new, and can take what you have and extend it way further than you ever thought.
I love that. I love that. So, before we wrap up, I wanted to open the floor up to our audience. If you guys have any questions for Miss Sonya, um, definitely feel free to hop on the mic and chit chat for a bit.
Yeah, let's chit chat.
Miss Clarette, I saw that hand. Can't hear you.
We can't hear you, T-Bell. Uh-uh.
You're muted.
No, we can't hear you.
Try now.
Now can you hear me?
There
Yep.
you
Yeah.
go.
Okay. Um, I love Sonya. I have loved her from
Love you too.
the first design class that I was in with her, me and Lori. But tonight, I needed to hear your encouragement
Mhm.
um, because I have always loved school. You know, I enjoyed going to school. I enjoyed reading. I enjoyed everything about a classroom. And to see the change, like you said, the kids are not necessarily going through the change. Everybody's going through the change. The parents, the kids, the whole system. And so, and there are some things that that I'm scared about. You know, there are a lot, I can't remember a time when I have heard autistic. You know, everything can't be autistic, is it?
Right.
But
Everything is
it's
not.
just like that's all I hear, that's all I hear, that's all I hear. And my grandchild, he was just sitting in class not doing a thing. JJ wasn't doing anything. And it was just that point where we thought, well, what's going on here? Well, the teacher, she said he's bored.
Mhm.
And so they had to take him out of school and they put him in STEM.
Mhm.
And so now, I mean, he's just excited. The other day, he told Lori that he didn't do as good. He said, I have to talk to Grandma Bell. He said, because I didn't really do as good as I wanted to in my test, and I might have to explain that to her. I said,
Mhm.
I'm just glad that you were interested, you know.
Yeah.
But the teachers that I'm that I hear talking, the teachers that I hear talking in the classrooms and stuff, I'm worried about anybody that they're even interacting with. But that's in this area that I'm in. You
No,
know what I
Bell,
mean?
that's everywhere. That's
It's
everywhere.
just it is just
That's everywhere.
really really something. It
Yeah,
really
that's
is.
everywhere.
But I'm real encouraged. And the thing about the GPT, those things, you know, they wanted to kind of give me a little bulk. The kids here, well, Granny, you think everything is about AI. I said, you think everything else is about Siri. I said,
Which
every
is
time I
AI.
look up, I said, who told you Siri knew everything?
Yeah.
You know, when we
And
start
Siri is
going
AI.
through.
That's what they don't think
Yeah,
about that because it's been around so long. But Siri is AI. Google Maps,
exactly.
AI. All that.
Those
That's exactly
games,
what it is. Yeah.
the
AI.
whole
That's all it
thing.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly it. It is it.
With
So
the
I'm
thing
just
that
glad to hear it. I mean, it has encouraged me a lot to hear
good.
you talk.
Good, good, good. One of the things that we can do when it comes to those teachers, because you're not going to be able to get away from that. That's a reality. Those types of teachers are there. And they could be that way for various reasons. Being an educator in the classroom myself, I can tell you that it's a lot. It's a lot. You're dealing with attitudes and behaviors, and some parents who could care but don't. You know, some parents who could help but won't. But in the sense of a child like your grandchild who was in the classroom not doing anything because he was bored. You know, what do I do when I'm bored? So when everybody can't move, and go into another program. So what do? You then, that's where your community programs come into play. That's when your churches come into play. By gathering like-minded individuals. They don't even have to be an educator because let me tell you something, some of the best teachers don't have teaching degrees, right?
Exactly.
Some of the best teachers don't have teaching degrees. All you need is a passion and a love for kids and a love for teaching. Then you can actually teach. So what do? You grab these people that are willing, and you go to the community centers and you say, hey, look, every Saturday from 10 to 12, we're going to be here. We're going to advertise that we're going to be in here, and we're going to do maybe a STEM camp, or we're going to do maybe an AI thing. That's what I'm working with our community right now, trying to get people involved to help me get that type of thing going, because it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to just absolutely give up on our kids. You don't have to give up on them. You just have to give them other avenues. And my computer is about to die. I am so sorry, you guys. Let me grab my, is it okay if I grab my charger so I don't lose you guys?
Go ahead. Do what
Yeah,
you got
yeah.
to
Real
do.
quick, real quick, real quick. I want to go home.
I think we have all experienced that at some point. I have been in the middle of Zooms and it just completely decided to go black because I didn't
Yeah,
charge. So I
yeah,
understand.
yeah, yeah. I'm right here, baby, right here. And I knew I should have plugged this up while I was going, but I didn't. So
Sonia, I would like to, if you could let me know a couple of those GPTs, because two of my sisters, they're retired, but they
mhm,
work. Some kids that are just not interested, don't want to do anything.
mhm,
Dolores and Alice work with them like twice a day, twice a week.
mhm, mhm.
Now both of them, like, they know how to go into the chat, they know how to do some little prompting, and so far, like, that keeps them kind of interested to a certain extent. But I
Mhm.
would be glad for them, they would work with those GPTs, with the kids that they are working with, you know what I mean? Just for
Yeah,
just little
absolutely.
projects or anything.
Yeah, just have them contact me and we can see exactly what it is that they need. And
Okay,
I'll see
we'll
what I got
do.
in my arsenal. Yeah, we'll see.
Okay,
We'll
gotcha.
see. I'm down for helping. I'm down for helping babies. I love it. I love it. If it'll get them interested, you know.
Hmm.
And one thing that we do need to do, and that we would be remiss as a community if we don't do, is to arm our kids with the knowledge for AI, because it's so much further than the games that you play. You can create your own game now. You can create a whole game now with no code, but they don't know that because it's not put in front of them. You can start a business now at your age. You can start a business now using AI, learning how to prompt, learning how to create coloring books, learning how to create puzzle books, learning how to, if you are a kid that suffers from something and you know how to get past it, why don't you write a book about it? Because somebody else might need, and then that's ownership. They're owning that. They know that they can do it. They can use AI to create an ebook, and then take that ebook and put it on Etsy, or get your own. You get your beacons or something, and now you got your own stuff. And what is,
Good.
you can get on YouTube and just start talking about it. People will listen to you. It doesn't matter that you're a kid, people will listen to you. But they can't do it if we don't teach them. And we cannot wait until society decides that they're worthy to get the information, because they will never be. You understand what I'm saying? For our black and our brown babies, ain't nobody coming to save us. So we got to wake up as adults. We have to wake up and realize that it is our responsibility to touch as many of these kids as we possibly can, to get them in the area that they need to go. A lot of them turn to other things because they feel like they have no other choice, because nobody has presented another choice to them. Don't do that. Don't go out there and sell that. Don't go out there and do this. But then what is the alternative? Now we have something where you could make, depending on what it is you're doing and how good you are, you can make $5,000, $10,000 a month legally. Who knew? And all you need is an imagination. All you need is an imagination, and it will help you develop the skill if you're not that good with it. Nothing has to be perfect. It just has to be done. But our kids don't know that because we don't speak that. When you don't speak life into something, it dies, right? And so it is our responsibility as adults to stop complaining about the next generation that's coming up. Because yeah, they're a hot mess. They are a hot mess. But it's because they are exposed to 50 times more stuff that we were exposed to. And
Yeah.
so what do? It's not going to go away. It's still there. You need to teach them how to combat that stuff. They don't know how. These are still babies. I don't care how, and I tell teachers this all the time. I don't care how a kid stands flat foot in front of you and curses you from A to Z and tell you what they ain't gonna do and da 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 da. I don't necessarily have that problem, but some teachers do. They tell you what they ain't gonna do. Here's the thing: their brains, as grown as they want to be, your brain is exactly where your age is supposed to be. They are children. They can be manipulated into doing whatever it is that you need them to do. It's just how you talk to them. It's how you talk to them. It's how you present things to them. It's how you build that relationship with that child. That's not going to go away. So that's how teachers will know that your job, AI is not going to take your job, because the human element of AI, especially in education, no matter whether you're in a classroom or a boardroom, that relationship, that human connection is the necessary piece. So you can be fine not knowing that AI is not going to take your job. However, someone like myself, if I was coming for your job, I'm going to get it. Because right now you have industries, whole industries now, that don't necessarily even require you to have a college degree. Some of them don't even have, you don't even have to have a college degree. But if you have an AI certification, that's what they're looking for. That's what they're looking for. The world of AI has opened it is the second most, AI consultants are the second most sought after occupation right now, according to LinkedIn. The second most. You imagine how that goes? And it spans so many areas: healthcare, real estate, education, movies, music, producing. Some of these kids are geniuses and they don't know it because they don't have the tools. I feel like I got to, you can produce a song. No, I can't. I don't have no studio. Yes, you do. You got a computer. You got a studio. Now you got a studio. You like making beats? Get on there and make some. You like making beats? Okay, I tell you what. This is your homework assignment, and I want it by the end of the week. I need a song about the 7 principles of government, written and produced by you. I need to see the words, the lyrics, and I need to hear it. Do it. You say you like music, get it done. So now you're testing what you like to do with what you have to do, which makes it a little bit easier to understand it, because repetition, is the greatest advocate for education. Repetition, as long as they hear it over and over and over again. When you're making a song and you're creating something, you have to hear it over and over and over again, right? You got to say the lyrics over and over and over again. So before you know it, we're taking a test and you're looking at something about the 7 principles of government and you're singing that song in your head because that's how you remembered it. Just like we did with Schoolhouse Rock. These folks knew that long time ago. When I want to catch the beginning of something, I'll be like, okay, well, okay, I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. That's what I heard on Schoolhouse Rock. And I'm 57. And I still go back to that. So it's incorporating some of the stuff that we know works because it worked for us, but then just infusing it with some modern day technology. That's all it is.
I love it, man. I love it. So we are at the top of the hour. And before we sign off formally on Facebook, because we'll keep the conversation going a little bit on the back end, um, let me go ahead and share my screen, and I would love for you to further discuss your Trainer's Edge Academy.
Oh, ooh, that's my baby. Yes, yes. Trainers Edge Academy, you guys, is the gold standard in training programs. So let me tell you why I did Trainers Edge Academy to begin with. I started Trainers Edge Academy because I got tired of throwing good money after bad. Right? I go to these trainings and somebody said they're going to teach you how to do this. I pay $200 or $300. I walk out of there, and the only thing that has changed is that my bank account is lighter. I don't know any more now than I did when I first walked in here. And I have done that several times. And I have lost hundreds of dollars. And it's not necessarily that the person doesn't know what they're talking about. Sometimes when we are very astute in what we do, to teach it to somebody else, you sometimes you start to think that they already know it, right? So you just start to move through really fast, and it's because you're not working from a framework. You're not working from a place of understanding. You didn't start with the pain points to begin with. So those are all the things that we talk about in the Trainers Edge Academy. It is an 8-week program. It is internationally recognized and fully accredited. You will get CPD hours. You will be a certified AI training professional when you finish this course. Um, but it helps you walk through frameworks and all those different things, those basic things that people don't realize. Some people just jump on Zoom and start teaching something. You got to think about it first. You got to think about it first. And I pride myself and my students in giving them the gold standard. I give them everything I got. I don't gatekeep. I don't hold anything back. If I'm going to teach you, I'm going to teach you, because when you leave there, that's my name you're carrying. And if that's my name for my business that you're carrying, I got to make sure that you are what I say that you are going to be, which is a gold standard, top-notch trainer that cannot be touched if you apply the lessons that I give you. So it is extremely wonderful. This is my second cohort. My first cohort, I think we had like 10 people in our first cohort. Those ladies are doing fantastic right now. I have a lady, once she finished she got her certification. She works in HR. She has now acquired the director's position in HR. When she first started working with me, she was just just a worker in HR. But now she's a director over new hire development, because she now knows how to train, and she does do the training. So I employ my Teach Tech Transform framework, which is a very simple framework but very powerful. So we have an interest meeting coming up on this Thursday. Well, I'll get more in depth about exactly what you'll learn and what you'll get from the Trainers Edge Academy. So if you want to come, please, please, please come one, come all, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. If they are ready to change the game, then they need to attend the Trainers Edge Academy interest meeting, and then go ahead and join the Trainers Edge. By the time you finish, you will be a certified AI training professional. You will have either completed your first training, created your first training, or you have created your first course, whichever one. You learn both as we're going through this 8-week program. So it is chock full of information. And like I said, I don't gatekeep. I give you everything I got because I want you to be the best. It's enough money out here for everybody. I can't teach everybody. So somebody got to go out there and do some teaching on their own. You know what I'm saying? So I welcome you guys. I welcome you guys to join me on Thursday, November the 6th. Classes begin November 15th.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Congratulations, first and
Thank
foremost,
you.
because this is incredible. This is
Thank
incredible.
you.
So you guys heard her. November 6th, you are interested. This is the move that you're going. And as you hear from the conversation this evening, AI is not going anywhere.
At all.
It's not going anywhere. So you might as well get ahead of the bus. Right? So, oh, wow. That's incredible. Incredible. All right, you guys over in Facebook land, it has been a pleasure and an honor. Miss Sonia, I thank you so very much for joining us
Oh,
this
I thank you
evening.
guys so very much for thinking of me. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I really do.
Awesome. All right, Facebook, if you're not over here on this side, I'm sorry, you're getting the end of the conversation. But you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we're going to chit chat for a little bit more. Bye.